All right, what's up, guys? How we doing? Little Monday slate, 9 games. Hope you guys had a good weekend. We're back for tonight's NBA slate. Talk through NBA. NFL this past weekend. Hope it went good for you guys. I had a god awful NFL weekend, man. Like, NFL just whooped my ass yesterday. I did so bad. It's been a bad run for me these last few days, but I'm excited for a new week. Hopefully we can make some money tonight on this NBA slate. If you guys have questions about tonight's slate, you can start throwing those in chat. We'll be live for about 30 minutes or so to answer any questions you have, talk through the slate. News-wise, there's not too much we're still waiting on, but we did get word from Memphis that Desmond Bane is now questionable for Memphis, so that's kind of important. We will need to keep an eye on that. And then we also got word that Steven Adams, he was doubtful before, and now he is questionable. So Memphis is kind of like the focal point of this slate in terms of injury news. A lot of key questionables there. Triple J, Desmond Bane, Steven Adams, all questionable. And then Aaron Gordon, Will Barton are both questionable. That's kind of important. If both those guys are out, I mean, my God, like Jokic, he might go for 80 tonight, no joke. And then still waiting on news on DeAndre Ayton, who's questionable. I think he plays, but if he doesn't, we saw what JaVale McGee did last game. JaVale McGee would be a really good value if Ayton's out. I'm expecting most of these guys that are questionable to play. But, if we get some news during the stream, we can obviously touch on that. We can kind of talk through how I'm approaching things. But I appreciate you guys being here. Hit the like button before we get started answering questions. I always appreciate all the likes. And if you're new, you have not subscribed yet, please do hit that subscribe button as well. What's up, Didi? What's up, my man? Favorite values tonight is Slim Pickens. Yeah, value-wise, I mean, we're going to have to wait and see with Memphis. So depending on who plays for Memphis, like if Jaren Jackson Jr., Desmond Bane, Steven Adams, if they all play, then, there's really not going to be any value here. But if, we get where the Steven Adams is out, I'd assume that Xavier Tillman would start. It's a really scary matchup going up against Embiid, but Xavier Tillman's 3,400. He would be a really solid value play if Steven Adams is out. Kyle Anderson, I think, would get a little boost as well. He would definitely get a bigger boost if Jaren Jackson Jr. were to sit. If Desmond Bane were to get ruled out, I think we could look to a guy like DeAnthony Melton, who would be a pretty good value at 4,700. Chris Boucher is projecting pretty well. He's been starting lately for Toronto. He's still cheap, 4,300. Boucher is one of these guys that when he gets minutes, he can be really productive. And we've seen in the last 2 games he started, 22 and 27 minutes. 23, 26 DK points. He's still just 4,300. So that's kind of another guy that I like for value. And then you got some really strong plays in this 5K range. I think Reggie Jackson without PG is too cheap at 5,900. Jalen Brunson without Luka, I think is too cheap at 5,800. That's kind of what I'm looking to for value. But we gotta wait and see with Memphis. Like we could get a lot of value from Memphis if all these questionable guys are out. What's good, Noah? So yesterday with a good NBA, but trash NFL. Yeah, I feel you there, T-Bone. God, NFL, man, it was so bad yesterday. So bad for me, at least. Where's Yahoo taking you as shooting guard? I think for shooting guard on Yahoo, I'm either probably going to, pay up for Bradley Beal. Just without Kuzma, I think the upside is definitely there for Bradley Beal. We haven't really seen a lot of great games from him, but we know the ceiling is there. He gives us a really high floor. He's going to play a lot of minutes. So, either Bradley Beal. If you want to go cheap, though, I think Luke Kennard's a really good value on Yahoo. He should continue to play big minutes without Paul George. Had a really good game last game. He's only $11. I think Luke Kennard looks pretty good at shooting guard on Yahoo. And then there's some guys in this mid-range you can take shots on, like Terry Rozier. I talked about him in my video last night. He's risky just because it's his first game back from COVID protocols, but if Terry Rozier is full go, I think Terry Rozier is kind of interesting. He's not going to get any ownership today. I definitely like him a little bit in tournaments with LaMelo still out. So those are a few shooting guards that I like for Yahoo. What's up, Eric? What's up, my man? I have a 40-minute drive, so I'm here. If you have any trolls, we should be good, Vanetta. We should be good. The trolls we haven't seen any trolls in the chat for a long time. I think they've just gone away, thank God. Harrison Barnes, Armani Brooks, or Terrence Mann. I would say Terrence Mann there, Coley. I think it's close between Mann and Barnes, but I would say Terrence Mann. Is Tillman still viable if Adams plays? I would probably be off of Tillman at that point. So, yeah, we just got to wait and see with Steven Adams. The fact that he was upgraded from doubtful to questionable kind of makes me assume he's going to play, but you never know. If he's out, I think Tillman's a really strong value, even in a tough matchup. If Steven Adams plays, then yeah, I'd be off of Tillman. How much you like Porzingis for tonight? I think Porzingis is in play. It's a really good matchup against Charlotte. Charlotte this year been one of the worst defensive teams in terms of defensive rating, and they're playing at a really fast pace. We've seen bigs do really well against Charlotte this year. They just don't really have any good defensive big men. So I think it's a really good spot for Porzingis. He just hasn't really been that aggressive offensively this year. Like, even when Luka's out, like, he'll just disappoint a lot. He didn't really have that great of a game yesterday. But I think Porzingis is a really good tournament play. I don't think he gets much ownership. Right now, he's projected for 17% ownership on DK. I think he's a pretty good play at that ownership. How do you feel about Maxey? I'm not really that interested in Maxey. The Sixers in general are not a team I really like today, outside of Embiid as just kind of a tournament play. I just don't really think I'm going to go to any other Sixers. Just not a team I have much interest in personally. Jaylen Brown or Tyler Hero? I would take Tyler Hero. Any thoughts on Dedmon? I mean, Dedmon's going to play a lot, I would assume. Like, they don't really have a choice. Going up against Cleveland, a team that plays big, like, you're going to have Dedmon out there. We've seen Dedmon's minutes be up and down lately, but I think Dedmon will play 32 minutes if the game's close and he's not in foul trouble. So, yeah, at 5K, if we get 30 minutes from Dedmon, he could be fine. He could be a pretty solid play. So, it's just that, the minutes have been so up and down for him, you never know what they're going to do, but I think this is a type of matchup where they kind of have to play Dedmon. They don't really have a choice. Any interest in Brandon Boston? He's playable. He just kind of came out of nowhere and just started playing really well. He was like not even in the rotation, and then lately he's been getting minutes. You would have to think with Paul George still out, like he's going to get minutes. He's minimum salary 3K. I guess he's fine. I still question, how many minutes does he really play? I think most nights is probably just low 20s, if that. But if you need the value, if you need a punt play, I think Brandon Boston's at least playable. There's not really any guys at 3K that I'd be playing, but I think Boston's at least playable. I'll say that. Best guard to take first tonight? I mean, points per dollar wise, Jalen Brunson stands out as a really good guard option. Reggie Jackson, those guys I like a lot. They're going to be chalky, but I think they're just good plays in general. Reggie Jackson, Brunson, Scotty Barnes, Porzingis, Tillman, Boston Jr., Boucher, Jokic. I think that's solid, Ryan. Boston, again, he's more of a dart throw, but I think he is playable. And the rest of that lineup I do like. Obviously, Tillman, we got to wait and see if Steven Adams plays or not. If Steven Adams plays, then yeah, I would change that up a little bit. I would not want to play Tillman if Steven Adams plays. Boucher or Matthews or Brooks for value? Give me Boucher there. Brunson, Cody, Brooks, Mann, Boucher, Collins, Jokic, Trey, Yahoo. Save this line. So Brunson, Cody Martin, Brooks, Mann, Boucher, Collins, Jokic, Trey. I think that's solid, Dandy. Cody Martin, now that Terry Rozier's back, I question how many minutes Cody Martin plays. I still think he does play a lot. I just don't know if he plays like 40 minutes like he has been. I think he plays maybe low 30s. There's also a possibility that Terry Rozier could start. He's going to probably start, and that either means that Cody Martin or Kelly Oubre is going to go to the bench, one of those two guys. So, if Cody Martin goes back to the bench, I think he still plays like 30 minutes. I don't know if he plays enough to where I'd want to, be jamming him in, especially with his price up. But the rest of that lineup, I kind of like. Gary Trent, I think Gary Trent's fine. It's a really good matchup against Sacramento. I don't think, outside of Boucher, there's no one on Toronto that stands out as like a great point per dollar play. But that doesn't mean you can't get a good game from Gary Trent or Van Vliet or Scotty Barnes or even Siakam. Just because all those guys are going to play so many minutes if the game's close and the matchup's really good. $2 super chat from Victor. Hey, good luck tonight in the NBA and NFL slate, brother. Victor, good luck to you as well, my man. Thank you for the $2 super chat. I appreciate it, buddy. Appreciate it. What do you think about Reggie Jackson and Luke Kennard? I think both are in play, Chris. Without Paul George, there's obviously going to be a lot of opportunity for both those guys. The matchup against Phoenix is not the best. This game has a little bit of blowout potential, but I think if it does stay close, it's probably going to be because Reggie Jackson, Luke Kennard, Terrence Mann, these guys are doing well. We saw last game, you got a pretty good game from like all those guys. Reggie Jackson, Kennard, and Mann, I think all put up like over 30 DK points. So yeah, they're definitely in play for me. Any word of if Rozier's limited? I haven't seen anything yet, Nicholas. I'm going to keep an eye on that. I think Rozier's going to be good to go. He's going to start and play normal minutes, but yeah, keep an eye on it. I will say that if you do play on Prize Picks, so they currently have Terry Rozier projected for 29 fantasy points. Like, if we get word that Terry Rozier is starting with no minutes limit, I mean, 29 fantasy points, man, that's really, really low for Rozier. It's hard to project him for a lot of fantasy points just because we don't really know, how he's going to look in his first game back. We don't know how many minutes he's going to play. But I think if we do get word that Rozier is starting and there's no minutes limit, 29 fantasy points over that on Prize Picks, I kind of like. If you want to take that, I will definitely be paying attention to that. To some Rozier news. Thoughts on Jordan Poole tonight? I'm not really interested in Jordan Poole. I think from Golden State, it's probably just Steph and Draymond, and that's really it. And even Steph and Draymond on this slate, like, neither one stand out to me at their prices. How do you feel about Marcus Morris? You could throw him right in the boat with, Terrence Mann, Luke Kennard. Like, all those guys benefit without PG. I think Marcus Morris is still cheap enough to where he's definitely in play. He's not like my favorite play from the Clippers, though. I would prefer Reggie. I prefer Terrence Mann over him. Yeah, we just answered that about Brandon Boston. I don't know if you missed it or not, but we just talked about Brandon Boston. I think he's a fine dart throw. Not someone that I think I'm going to be rostering personally, but maybe if you're playing like the showdown slate, I think you could definitely go to him there. On the main slate, I don't know if you need to go that risky, but he's playable at least. Will Kyle Anderson only be viable if Triple J's out? I mean, I think if Steven Adams is out, maybe Kyle Anderson would get more run. Like, they could start Jaren Jackson Jr. at center and then let Kyle Anderson play the 4. But I would want Triple J to be out before I go to Kyle Anderson, I think. Especially since Kyle Anderson's price came up since, Triple J was out last game. What team's good to stack on tonight? I see most teams are priced where it should be at. I mean, there's no teams that I'm, like, stacking, I don't think. But there are some teams that are shorthanded. The Mavs are going to be without Luka. The Clippers are going to be without Paul George. Charlotte's still missing a lot of guys. There's some questionable guys on Denver. Aaron Gordon, Will Barton, both questionable. So you got to pay attention to those injuries. I think the Clippers, there's a lot of appealing plays on the Clippers. I don't want to go too heavy on this team. Like, I don't want to be rostering like 4 Clippers or anything. But like Reggie Jackson, Luke Kennard, Marcus Morris, Terrence Mann, I mean, all these guys are playable at their salaries, given Paul George is doubtful, not expected to play. So I guess if you wanted to stack a team, it could be the Clippers, but like, I don't really go into NBA slates. I don't stack an NBA, I'll say that. I try and take advantage of, the teams that are shorthanded, and if it turns out that I'm playing 3 or 4 guys from a team, then so be it. Kevin Huerter, I think Kevin Huerter's fine. He's going to get minutes without DeAndre Hunter and without Bogdan. Like, the minutes are going to be there for Kevin Huerter. I still don't think he projects great at his salary. His prices come up a decent amount, but he's still playable. The matchup against Houston is really good. 100 watching, 19 likes. Come on, guys, show Noah some love. Yeah, what my man Suave said. Hit the like button, fellas. If you haven't yet, please do like the stream. I always appreciate the likes. I appreciate you guys being here, asking questions. Helps to keep the stream flowing. I wouldn't just sit here and talk to myself the entire stream. So when you guys ask questions, helps to keep things going smoothly. Reddish at 3,300 look good. I saw that Cam Reddish is not on a minutes limit anymore. So I think, 3,300. I didn't know he was that cheap. I mean, he's definitely playable. So last game, he only played 17 minutes in his first game back. I don't know how many minutes he plays today, but given they said he's not on a minutes limit, like, I have to assume he plays at least like 24, 25. So I think 3,300. Cam Reddish, he's a dart throw, but he's definitely in play, especially now that they said he's not going to be on a minutes limit. I could see how many minutes he's projected for. That might give me some clarity there. So he's projected for 24 minutes. So yeah, like if Cam Reddish plays 24 minutes, he's probably going to do okay at 3,300. Is he going to win you the slate? I wouldn't think so, but he probably scores enough to be good at his salary. He is so cheap. Best small forward, 6K range. Let's see. Probably, Dylan Brooks, especially if Desmond Bane's out, I think Dylan Brooks will be the guy I would take there. But I think Jayshawn Tate's fine too. Gary Trent's fine. But if we do get word Desmond Bane's out, I would like Dylan Brooks the most in that price range as small forward. Brunson, Rozier, Mann, KP, Tillman. Well, Tillman's going to depend on if Steven Adams plays. If Steven Adams plays, I would be off of Tillman. But, right now we don't have any news yet on Steven Adams. He's questionable. He was doubtful, but now he's questionable. I think the rest of that lineup is solid, though, Brandon. We just got to wait and see with Steven Adams if he plays or not. Rozier is a little risky, but I think in tournaments he's going to be super, super low owned, and he definitely has upside without LaMelo if he's full go. What do you think about Oubre? I think at Oubre's price point now, I'm off of him, especially with Terry Rozier back. I just don't want to pay that price tag for Kelly Oubre. Look, Kelly Oubre could go out there and score 50 DK points again, but yeah, you're really overpaying for him right now, especially now that Rozier's back. Thoughts on Trae Young? I think it's a great spot for Trae Young against Houston. Like Houston, they've been playing at one of the fastest paces in the league. They're not a good defensive team. If this game stays close, like Trae Young's got a lot of upside. Yeah, this is one of the better matchups he's had like all season, so I definitely like Trae a lot. I would still, put Jokic ahead of him, but I think Trae's one of the better pay-up options for sure. Tatum or Trae? Give me Trae. If I still Tillman in my lineup, if Steven Adams plays, who could I switch him out with if we don't get a lineup before lock? I mean, Brendan, I'll be honest with you. Like, I don't put guys in my lineup and then, if the player winds up playing, I don't just look for a direct swap. Like, at that point, I'm just going to build a completely new lineup. So I wouldn't, like, if you do play Tillman, just, I don't know, because, like, there's really no direct pivots off of Tillman. Especially if you play Tillman at center, the only other centers you could swap to at that price range would be, like, Dwight Powell or Alex Len. Like, you just don't want to be playing those guys. So I'll be honest, like, right now I don't have Tillman in my lineup, but if we get where Steven Adams is out, I will rebuild and probably get Tillman in there. But I try not to do that. Like, I try not to just play a guy and then if I can't play that guy anymore, I don't want to just pivot to whoever else. Like, I don't want to play someone that I don't want to play just because he fits, if you know what I'm saying. Jokic and Embiid or Giannis? Give me Jokic for sure. How about Halliburton? I think Halliburton's fine. There's no standout plays from Sacramento in my opinion, but like Halliburton's fine. If Marvin Bagley starts again, I think he's in play for value. If Terrence Davis winds up starting, you could go there. But I don't love too much from Sacramento today. Are you going to try to fit Jokic and Giannis or only one of them? I mean, Jokic is for sure my favorite pay-up option. Just love the matchup against Washington. I don't think Washington really has anyone that can slow him down. And especially if Will Barton and or Aaron Gordon are out, I mean, God, Jokic, he's just going to get so much usage. So Jokic is my favorite pay-up option for sure. Oubre or Beal? I would probably take Bradley Beal there. Any interest in Bledsoe? Not really. Like, the Clippers just haven't been really playing Bledsoe that much. Now that he's coming off the bench, it's just tough to tell like how many minutes he plays. Even with Paul George out, I don't think I'd be playing Bledsoe. VanVleet, Trent, Young, Mann, Boucher, Porzingis, Capella, Brunson. I think that's solid, William. I think that's a solid lineup for sure. Best center for tonight? I mean, if he has a salary, it's got to be Jokic if you can play Jokic. Would you rather have Reddish or Bullock? I would rather have Reddish for sure over Bullock. Reddish just gives you way more upside. Thoughts on Shamet with no Booker? I mean, Shamet's been he's been playable these last few slates without Booker, but like today, I don't really think I'm going to go to Shamet. I mean, he's going to start and probably play like 30 minutes, but he just doesn't really offer a ton of upside unless he gets super, super hot from the field, which I'll bank on that not happening. What about Jaylen Brown on Yahoo at $26? I just can't do it, man. Like, Jaylen Brown has not been good since coming back from that injury. He could be limited today. So I think what happened is the Celtics brought back Jaylen Brown and he got re-injured because they were playing him too much. So there's a very good chance that Jaylen Brown's on the minutes limit today. So I would not be playing him. I'm not going to play Jaylen Brown until I see him actually produce at a high rate like we're used to him doing. Any love for Kevin Love? Probably not. Kevin Love's just going to play 20, 24 minutes off the bench. You got to hope that he's really productive in that time. I don't think he's someone I'd be playing personally. Boucher or Mann? I would say Boucher, but that is really close. I think both those guys are very solid values. Is Capella in play? Definitely. Yeah, I think Capella's definitely in play. I mean, going up against Houston's one of the best matchups you can get, so there's a lot to like from Atlanta for sure. I think Trae is my favorite play from Atlanta, but Capella's viable. Collins is fine. I think Kevin Huerter's fine. If you want to punt with Cam Reddish, I think that's something you could do too. So, yeah. Thoughts on CP3? Yeah, so CP3, like we haven't seen any good games from him without Booker yet, but like I want to say at some point CP3 is going to have like a 50-55 point game without Devin Booker. Could it come tonight? It definitely could. You know, I think CP3 will be very low owned, so if you want to play him in tournaments, I'm totally okay with it. But he's not a standout play for me. Thoughts on Dillon Brooks tonight? I think if Desmond Bane doesn't play, Dillon Brooks will be a pretty strong option. If Desmond Bane plays, then I think Dillon Brooks is just kind of like a GPP play at that point. Porzingis, Allen, or Capella? Give me Porzingis there, but that's definitely close between Porzingis and Capella. But I would say Porzingis. $34 forward on Yahoo. I think Porzingis is $34. Yeah, Porzingis is $34, so I'd play Porzingis there. 30 minutes for Jaylen Brown. I mean, yeah, even if Jaylen Brown plays 30 minutes, I mean, I'm fine just not playing him at his price tag. I mean, God, like Jaylen Brown's game log is just so ugly since he's come back. I mean, he's been less than a fantasy point per minute. I mean, 33 minutes, 17 fantasy points, 27 minutes, 20. Like he's not even averaging a fantasy point per minute. So I just don't know what to do with Jaylen Brown. I think it's just for me, just don't play him and then wait till he finally puts up a good game. And if people do play him, then hopefully they get lucky. But I would not be going there personally. LeVert broke out a bit last game. Do you think at his price is worthwhile low-owned play? I mean, I don't love the matchup against Golden State. Golden State's been so good defensively this year. I don't love much from the Pacers in general today. LeVert's price tag also came up, so like I still don't think he's that great of a play, even though he's been playing well lately. It's just the price tag, like he's 6,500 on DK. At that point, I'm just not that interested. Is Tillman starting? Also forward for 3,900. We don't know yet if Tillman's starting. Steven Adams is questionable, so we got to wait and see if Steven Adams plays. If Steven Adams does not play, if he's out, then I think Tillman would start, but we just have to wait for confirmation there. And then a forward for 3,900. Let me see. So you got Marvin Bagley you could play, who started last game. If Marvin Bagley starts again, I would probably take him there. Or you could play Denny Avia, who should start again with Kuzma out. So it'd be one of those two guys, I think. If Marvin Bagley starts, he'd probably be the guy I'd take there. Yeah, I saw the Bulls. So the Bulls play tomorrow. They got to postpone their game tomorrow. Tomorrow's slate's going to be I think it's just 3 games tomorrow. It was supposed to be 4 games, and it's only 3 now because the Bulls had to get postponed. They don't even have it. I think they have enough players, but I think for safety protocols, they just said, screw it, we're not going to play. But I think they did have enough players, at least. Gary Trent's heavily slept on due to playing 40 minutes a night and productive. I mean, yeah, Gary Trent's been really consistent this year, and he's been playing a lot of minutes. He's definitely in play. I think his price tag is where it should be, but in a good matchup against Sacramento, I mean, yeah, if we get 40 minutes from Gary Trent, he's going to probably do really well. I just think, all the main guys from Sacramento, or from Toronto, Van Vliet, Trent, Siakam, they're all priced where they probably should be. But that doesn't mean they can't have a good game. Armani Brooks, probably not going to go to Armani Brooks. He came off the bench last game. He still played a lot, but if he comes off the bench again, it's tough to pay. I think he's almost 5K on DraftKings. I just don't think I'd be playing that price tag, or paying that price tag for Armani Brooks if he comes off the bench again. Beal or Lowry? It's really close, Brendan. Give me Lowry, but that's a close one. $27 util. Let's see. I would say probably Jaren Jackson Jr. if he plays. If he doesn't play, then I would say Dillon Brooks. So probably one of those two guys I would be taking there. 4,900 util. DK have Boucher and Mann roster. Let me see. So if you already have Boucher and Mann, 4,900. I mean, you could go Luke Kennard. You could go Melton if Bane's out. So I would say Melton if Bane's out. If Bane plays, then I would probably go Luke Kennard. There, Tony. Thoughts on Beal and Dinwiddie? I mean, I think, without Kuzma, there's going to be opportunity for both those guys. Neither one had a great game last game when Kuzma was out, but they also got blown out by Utah. I think if the game stays close, like, it wouldn't be surprising to see Beal or Dinwiddie do well. I still don't think they're great plays, but, you know, I think Beal is definitely on the tournament radar for me. Dinwiddie, man, like, Dinwiddie's just been so bad this year. But I think he's fine because he's still pretty cheap. Who picks up the scoring on the Hornets with LaMelo out? I mean, lately it's been Kelly Oubre, it's been Cody Martin, it's been, you know, Miles Bridges. But I think with Rozier back, you know, Rozier could be a guy that takes a lot of shots tonight. That's kind of why I'm interested in Rozier as a tournament play. We just, you know, we don't know yet if he's starting or if he's on a minutes limit. We're still waiting for that. And I don't know if we're going to even get word on that. We might just be guessing. Boucher or Mann? I would say Boucher, but those two guys are very close. Pascal Beal or Allen? Give me Pascal Siakam there. All right, boys, I'm out of here. Best of luck tonight on this 9-game slate. You know, keep an eye on injury news for Memphis. That's the main thing that we're really keeping an eye on. Steven Adams, Jaren Jackson Jr., Desmond Bane, all questionable. So that's going to be really important. If some of those guys get ruled out, you know, there will definitely be some good plays that open up from Memphis. Still waiting on Ayton news. You know, that's a late game, so it's going to be tough to really do too much there. If you want to play JaVale McGee and just hope that Ayton's out, I guess you could. But that's obviously a riskier play. But I think that's all we're waiting on news-wise. And then, you know, Will Barton, Aaron Gordon, both questionable. Could maybe get some value from Denver if those guys are out. But, yeah, guys, that's it. Best of luck tonight. Enjoy your Monday night. Enjoy some NBA tonight. We got Monday Night Football. Hopefully we'll have a good game tonight. Rams and Cardinals. Should be a fun one. But, yeah, wish you guys the best of luck tonight. We'll see you tomorrow. We'll be live an hour before lock as always. Good luck, guys.